Am I the a-hole for telling my dad's wife to drop dead in front of her friends and family? Original post. My 17 female mom died a little over a year ago. I was living with her full-time before she passed. She left me a lot of money at her house. Since the house was just going to stay empty until I was done with college, my aunt on my mom's side and I talked about it, and we agreed she would stay there since she's taking care of my grandma and her place was small. I will move back in once I've finished my schooling. My dad assumed my mom left me her money and left the house to my aunt. I didn't correct him because I don't trust my dad nor have a great relationship with him. I am currently living with him, his wife Jan, and her twin daughters, 17, both lovely people, in a 3-bedroom flat. 2 months ago, he found out that my mom left me the house. I'm not sure how he found out, but he did. Since then, I haven't heard the end of it. I'm selfish for making us all stay in a tiny flat. I'm spoiled because I won't share my inheritance. I'm a terrible person for making the twins take out loans. You get the gist. This weekend was the twins' birthday at my paternal grandma's house. Most of my dad's family was there. We get along great usually. His wife's family, and some of both of their friends there along with the twins' friends. After they were done opening my present to them, they asked me if that was really it. I got a matching bracelets with their birthstones, which they both loved by the way. I got quiet, and I asked them what else they were expecting. They said Jan said that I was planning on surprising them on their birthday by telling them we were moving into my mom's house and helping them with college. My grandma asked Jan if this was true, and Jan started in on me again. She asked what she could do to make me stop being a witch, pull my weight, help out and be fair. And I told her she could drop dead. That my mom died for me to get all these things she wanted me to give to her daughters. I said if she wanted everything to be fair, then she should drop dead. And I would share everything I had with her daughters since we would have all lost a mother then. That it would be fair only after that happened. She and my dad started yelling at me. And my grandma and uncle started yelling at my dad and Jan. And everything was pretty much over after that. The whole ride home, my dad and Jan were getting calls and texts from my family and friends, telling them they were disappointed in them. And I was getting texts from Jan's family, the twins' friends, and a few of my own cousins saying I was selfish. I don't usually fight with my cousins, so I'm really starting to think maybe I'm being selfish, and that I went too far at the twins' party. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. A rare time when you can tell someone to drop dead and still be not the a-hole. Can you move in with your aunt? My grandma needs a lot of space right now, and the setup we have now has gotten the best results for her. I love my grandma, but seeing her on the brink of death sends my mind to a bad place. I tried staying the weekend once and I had a panic attack. This makes sense. I'm sorry that you are in this horrible position. Your dad is really letting you down. It isn't your fault at all. There is nothing you could have done differently or changed about yourself to make him behave decently. He is failing as a parent, and it has nothing to do with who you are. I hope you can move into some kind of a safe environment ASAP. Dad expects OP to share everything like she was a parent to the twins. She is his child. So sorry, OP. People may be angry with you just because of some misplaced anger. Your father and stepmom brought it by themselves. Their older folks got mad at them. It speaks volumes. Not the a-hole. At 17, I wouldn't have had a verbal creativity or emotional fortitude to so expertly advocate for myself. You are, in fact, a hero for ensuring your aunt has housing security as she cares for your aging grandmother, for standing up for yourself in the face of the emotional immaturity of the adults around you, and for investing in yourself. Carry on, Queen. Thanks. My aunt always says my mom did a great job raising me, and your comment made me think of that. Not the a-hole. You are amazing and owe them nothing. Don't let them manipulate you or guilt you in any way. Your cousins just don't understand, and you can only do and say so much to make them understand. Don't exhaust yourself, because your dad and Jan are selfish and manipulative and poorly planned for the twins' educational future. They are not your responsibility. Not the a-hole. They don't own you. And this BS where Jan made up a story about what you were going to do and then surprised you with it? Incredible. I hope you get out as soon as you can. That made me very mad, especially since she used the twins as pawns. She knows we get along and thought I would just go with it, I think. They haven't stopped apologizing to me since it happened. The twins sound like nice people. Please don't let that BS conflict break you apart. They know that their mom is wrong and is using them as pawns. It's probably a good idea to go no contact with all these people who are yelling and harassing you. You don't owe them anything. Now for the update. Thank you guys so much for the support. When everyone who usually backs you up says you're an a-hole, it's hard to believe you're not. But as some of you guessed, my cousins heard the word inheritance and got greedy, and that's why they sided with them. I was getting texts asking for money from them these past few days. I'm moving in with my grandma on my dad's side. She picked me up this morning and we've been moving my stuff instead of going to school today. The twins talked to their friends and they have texted their apologies. Although I'm not going to pay for their whole college experience, I think I'm going to help them buy books and with living on campus. They have really had my back on this, and that's amazing. I'm going no contact with my dad. He chose her over me, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I'm glad the twins aren't taking after their mom. Maybe OP will find some extra chosen family with them. His people like the twins who always underscore the fact that there is basically no telling what the kids will be like based on what the parents are like. And you're right, the twins displayed tons of grace in this story. They even have a moment where they screwed up, but then recognized that they screwed up and apologized. I can't imagine Jen ever doing that. Especially because the screw up wasn't even their fault. When they looked expectantly at OP, it was only because their mom was whispering in their ear, and they had no idea it wasn't true. Maybe I'm selfish too, because I think it's nuts that she's giving her inheritance away when she's not even established herself yet. She's got ways to go before she can be self-sufficient. It's sad her mother didn't set up a trust to prevent OP from being exploited like this. I was thinking the same thing about her giving money away too early, but at the same time, we have no idea how much money we're talking about, especially if there was a life insurance payout. It sounds like her mother died young, so a life insurance payout would be pretty substantial on top of who knows what else. And I'm betting that there is a trust, and I'm guessing that the aunt is a trustee, given that OP said she and her aunt decided together on what to do with the house. The fact that her father didn't know about the house suggests that he's not in charge of the inheritance, which in turn suggests that there is a trust, and someone else is the trustee. OP's mother probably knew that her ex and his wife were together a real piece of work, and put precautions in place to make sure that they couldn't get their mitts in anything. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my future stepson to attend my wedding? Original post. I, 30 female, I'm getting married to my fiancé Ellen, 33 male in December. My fiancé was married to Amy, 34 female before me, and they had a son together, Jay, 17 male. Amy and Ellen slept together at a party when they were both 16 and Jay was the product of that. They tried their best to make it work for 5 years, but then got divorced as Amy had cheated on Ellen. Now coming to the issue. I met my husband when I was 25 and he was 28. That's nearly 6 to 7 years after his divorce with Amy, but Jay seemed to think of me as the cause of it. Ellen and Amy have decided to not tell Jay about the real reason of their divorce until he's legally an adult. And because of that, he seems to believe that if he pushes his father and mother together, they'll get back together. I have nothing against Jay, but his actions really hurt me and he's so full of hatred for me. Initially, I tried to be a second mom to him, but he didn't like it, nor did Amy, which I understand. So I stopped trying and treated him as a friend instead. But he talks down to me, calls me a homewrecker. And last week, his friends all messaged me harassing me and asking to send them my OnlyFans, which I don't have, since I'm a cheap woman and a lot of other explicit things. This has hit the nail in the coffin for my fiancé. My fiancé is furious at Jay and wants to uninvite him from our wedding, and so do I. But Amy is against that. She thinks I'm being too sensitive and believes that this is normal teen behavior. I don't know if my dislike for Jay is clouding my decision, so please tell me, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before the updates. Not the a-hole, but uninviting Jay is not the solution. He's 17, and Ellen and Amy still haven't told him why they divorced? He is far too old for this behavior to be understandable. If your fiancé allows you to be treated this way now, it will only get worse once you're married. Ellen needs to fix this. Ellen for sure has. He chooses not to believe it. Now if Amy's lying, that's another matter. But he is 17 and she's a completely independent actor. He has chosen to blame her. Logic won't work. It's reasonably like the ex fed this fire. Regardless, kid needs to be told the truth. It may not fix things, but withholding the truth has certainly created a very poor result. Avoiding speculation in this scenario is probably the best for the moment, but this would not surprise me one bit and is worth keeping in the back of OP's mind just in case. Not the a-hole. He's 17. He's old enough to know right from wrong, and he should know the real reason for the divorce already. He's harassing you, and you're supposed to turn the other cheek? Alan should have stopped protecting Amy a long time ago. They both enabled Jay to keep treating you this way. Not the a-hole. Honestly, the cheating mother is sort of a side issue. The parents split up and 7 years later his dad meets someone, and now he is mad and calling her a homewrecker? This would be an issue even if there was no cheating in the first place, and they had broken up on better terms. All I'm saying is that revealing the truth won't fix much. His actions and feelings about this need to be addressed at a deeper level, like if it turns his hatred and harassment to his mother, is that a good outcome? Thank you. How did I have to scroll this far to find his comment? Plus, the kid was 12 when OP and his dad met. certainly old enough for awareness of the situation. He knows damn well that's not why his parents split up. He just wanted them to get back together, and now knows that they won't because his dad is marrying OP. Telling him why they split up won't change anything because it's more about what he sees as the reason they won't get back together. OP. Edit 1. Hey guys, we scheduled a talk with Amy and Jay tomorrow to look over this issue. We'll update tomorrow if all goes well. Thanks for all the advice and insight. Edit 2. Hey, so I'm going to try to make this not too long, but basically me, Amy, Alan, and Jay had a sit-down talk just about 30 minutes ago. It wasn't going anywhere until Alan burst out about Amy cheating on him. Amy went hysterical and tried to deny any accusations, but eventually agreed. Jay looked confused, but he surprisingly took it well. None expected him to, but he did. He seemed so ashamed of himself. Turns out I was right. Jay didn't believe that I was a homewrecker or anything. He was just jealous and mad that I got with Alan when Alan had money and was rich. Meanwhile, his mom had to go through poverty with his dad and seemed to think of me as some gold digger, even though I also work and earn almost as much as my fiancé. Jay also admitted that Amy had said a lot of messed up stuff about me to him when Alan and I first got together. He apologized for that. He also said that he wasn't aware of what his friends had sent to me and agreed that while he may have confided in his friends about what his mom said about me, he never asked them to message me. I've never seen Jay look so remorseful. Amy was fuming throughout this ordeal and screaming at Alan and I. Eventually, Alan kicked her out to have a more peaceful convo with Jay. They both exchanged hugs, and for the first time in 3 years, Jay looked happy. Well, that didn't last for long, because after the initial guilt and shock, anger settled in and he immediately moved out of his mom's and moved in with us. He's mad with Alan too, for keeping the secret from him. But not at me surprisingly. He actually didn't blame me. So I think we might actually be able to be in a more friendly familial relationship. Thank you to you all and your messages. I guess all I needed to do was communicate. Thanks. Edit 3. Turns out you all were right. Jay formally apologized to me today and said that he had been feeling guilty for the past year. Apparently on a camping trip with his girlfriend Maya, 16 female, a few months back, he confided in her about everything that had been going on. Maya was the first one to tell him that Amy sounded toxic, and there was probably more to the story. He said that he'd been asking Amy if there was something that he didn't know about Alan and her, but Amy declined. He also agreed that Amy had been abusive growing up, and had him sleep outside her apartment on days when she was on her period and wanted some time alone. He never thought to come to us because Amy had portrayed me in such a way that Jay thought I would make a big deal out of it, and Ellen would no longer invite him over. Jay looked like he was going to cry saying all this. He apologized and said that he was ready for any punishment and begged that we don't cut him off. But I told him that it was never my plan and that we're going to work this out together. I also messaged Maya thanking her for consoling Jay and supporting him. Jay and Alan want to go to court and change Amy's custody to visitation only, but I think it's useless since Jay will turn 18 in a couple of months. The Bye Mom was a little too cartoonishly evil for my taste, and everything wraps up a little too neatly. But all in all, I like this post. I am curious about whether Jay was actually involved in that harassment or not. Obviously, he is going to deny it regardless when confronted by his dad, but I do wonder if he was involved in some way. But regardless of that, this dude needs better friends. I was in a similar situation. Divorced because mother cheated, reason hidden from me, parental isolation with mother saying horrible things, abusive behavior mother as well. For me, it's not cartoonishly evil, but something I also experienced myself. Main difference is that I didn't get an out by living with dad and some therapy, but lost contact with my dad and got severe mental health issues. Now at 40, making progress in therapy while being no contact with my mother for years already. Same. People don't believe things one of our parents did, despite evidence and plenty of people witnessing individual episodes on a regular basis. People who grew up in good homes with loving families never understand these sorts of situations because they never experienced anything even close to them, so they just can't comprehend them actually happening in reality. Amy had been abusive growing up and had him sleep outside her apartment. WTF? Jay said he was scared Opie would make a deal about it. I would have told him, damn right, I would make a big deal out of it. I would have gotten you warm and safe and went to tear your mother a new one. The stepson needed to have his situation put into perspective by 16-year-old girlfriend. She seems like a sensible, grounded person. Sadly, when you grow up in abuse, you don't always understand what's normal. How can you, when all you know is what you experience? He needed someone to point out that isn't normal. There are so many situations I didn't understand were so awful, until other people told me how messed up it actually was. Am I the a-hole for forcing my pregnant wife to be taken care of by her brother-in-law while I go on a trip? Original post. So first off, my wife and I are not in the best place right now. This is in part due to her decision to be a surrogate for sister and brother-in-law. I did not agree with this. The current issue is not about that, though it is related. I was recently promoted, and with a promotion, me and my family are invited on a retreat. It is an all-expenses-paid trip. I told my wife about the trip and she was really excited about it, and so are our kids. My wife brought up the trip with her doctor though, and was told that since she is expecting twins, she should not fly after 20 weeks. She will be 24 weeks by the time of the trip, and there is no way for us to go besides flying. The doctor said with how she is progressing, there is a chance she might have to be put in bed rest by then as well. Because of that, my wife doesn't want me to go either, since she says she'll need me here to take care of her. I would be able to since I have the option to work from home. I, however, still want to go on a trip, and so do our kids. So my thinking is that, since the baby is theirs, my sister-in-law and her husband should have to be the ones to take care of my wife. I talked to them about this idea and it was not well received, because my sister-in-law and her husband do not live close by. So one of them would have to come and stay here to take care of her, which means one of them would have to take a week off from work. They apparently are scrambling to save every penny they can since they spent all their savings getting my wife pregnant, and we're not expecting twins. My sister-in-law said if I was really going to abandon my pregnant wife, they would figure it out and take care of her. However, because of the money issue, it means her husband would be the one taking care of my wife since my sister-in-law makes more money than him. It would be very detrimental to them if she took a week off, but they could make do without his paycheck if they had to. To me, it seems like a good enough solution, but wife is upset because she says I'm putting her in the uncomfortable position of being taken care of by her brother-in-law when she's in a vulnerable state. Of course, nobody's thinking he's going to do anything to her. She is just uncomfortable because he's a man, and she would rather he not look after her. Now for the top comments before reading the mini update. The issue is precisely that she is surrogating against your wishes. What was the decision-making process you went through? In situations like this, there is no compromise. One wins. But it's how you got there. That she wants you and the kids to change plans because of this suggests she won more by default than process. This was a decision that profoundly affects all of you, especially since you've been through this with your own and no pregnancy. No, her choice, her consequence. Go and enjoy yourself, and when you get back, get into marital therapy. That she doesn't see all of this suggests this one doesn't have a long shelf life otherwise. There wasn't any decision-making process that I was a part of. I was told it was none of my business. Perfect. Then taking care of her now is none of your business. Take your kids and enjoy your trip, and when you get back, rethink your whole marriage. Not a-hole. Your wife agreed to be a surrogate without you being on board with the idea? Frankly, you have much bigger problems to face than whether to go on this trip. I know. Like I said, things aren't great right now to begin with. Not a-hole. I'm sorry she just did that without even a discussion. As a female, a mom and a partner, this is awful to me. It also really bothers me that these people are like, "Whoa, we have to take care of the person carrying our babies." So what are they gonna do when the babies are here? Drop them with your wife? Leave them with a nanny all the time? Hang on, this isn't just about one trip. If she might need to be put on bed rest at 24 weeks, doesn't that leave a whole 16 weeks that she's going to need a carer? And they think you should be doing that? Yeah, time for the wife to go live with a sister and brother-in-law. What a mess. Now for the mini update. I go offline for a bit to take care of some things and I come back to all these comments. Thank you all for helping not feel so crazy or, I don't know, alone in this. I do realize now that this is the end of the road for us. I probably should have realized that sooner. So right now, I'm just going to start preparing for that and try to make this process as easy as possible for our kids. Next story. Am I the a-hole for dumping my girlfriend who left her husband for me? I was in a friends with benefit relationship with a woman. I didn't know that she was married. She told me that they were separated. I started catching feelings for her and I confessed that I want to build a future with her. And she came next day to my doorstep and told me that she wants to move in with me as her ex is making her divorce difficult. I was like, sure. First few weeks were good. She would clean and cook for me. Then she started messing with my things, telling me where to put my keys, how I go out whenever I want, etc. She became irritating and eggy, so I lost feelings for her and kicked her out. She started begging me to give her another chance, that she will not bother me and how she left her husband for me. Turns out they were not separated. She was cheating on that poor sod with me. I told her to kick rocks and never contact me again. She's now spreading rumor that I love bombed her. that I somehow manipulated her into cheating with me. Her husband is not letting her get back and is going for full custody on grounds for abandonment. I don't blame him, but I do think he is overreacting, although it's none of my business. She has been harassing me on social media, blaming me for stringing her along and using her for fun. I used her for fun, as much as she used me the same. I didn't love bomb her. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You may want to make a post about how it really went down. Public embarrassment can be a way to get her to stop harassing you. I agree. At least respond with, if I had known you were still married, I never would have gone out with you or slept with you. Then block her on all platforms. Yep, tell the story that she told you she was separated and going through a divorce. In fact, post your Reddit post to her social media. Then block. I don't blame him, but I do think he's overreacting, although it's none of my business. She's spreading lies about you on social media after deceiving you as well as her husband, yet you think her husband is someone who overreacts? Trust me, if you think you've seen the worst of her in just a short period of time, then you should take into account how much he has had to deal with after being married for a while and having kids with her. You were probably just the last straw. Consider setting the record straight on social media, as her lies could affect you negatively. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, but a bit crappy. She literally ditched her kids to move in with this random guy. That's abandonment. Him calling the husband filing for custody on grounds for abandonment overreacting is horrible. No, he didn't know. He does now. No, he didn't ask her to leave her kids, but saying it's overreactive is crappy. It's not overreaction. It's the definition of abandonment. Leaving your kids for nearly a month to move in with your new boyfriend is abandonment. She was cheating on her husband with you and used you when she was kicked out by her husband. Why would you give a chance to a cheater? If she did that to her husband, she will probably do the same to you. She even lied to you about her relationship with her husband. She only wants to get back together with you because she needs a place to stay. Just block her and go no contact with her. She is a troubled person and it's not your responsibility. Just learn your lesson and avoid making the same mistake in the future. Next story. Am I the a-hole for divorcing my wife after she got an abortion? My 27 male and wife 27 female have been together for 4.5 years and married for 2. We've discussed kids before marriage and both agreed that we wanted kids. A couple weeks after we got married, we started trying for a baby and she got pregnant, but was having doubts about kids at a time. We discussed it a bit and she said she didn't feel ready yet. I didn't push back and let her make the decision since she's the one who's pregnant. 3 weeks ago, she got pregnant again. I was excited, but she still wasn't sure. She said she wanted to wait a little longer, and I tried asking her for a timeline, but she just said when she feels ready, she'd let me know. I asked her if she still wants kids at all, and she gave me a non-answer where she said she doesn't know if she wants kids anymore and wouldn't elaborate. I didn't want to pressure her to do anything, but I told her that I want to have kids and that I need to rethink our relationship if this is the route she wants to go. She got the procedure and I started the divorce proceedings a few weeks later. Some of our mutuals are saying I was wrong to separate because of this, and she's called me a few times sobbing. I really want to be with her, but having kids and starting a family is really important to me, and it feels like she's been too unsure and unclear with what she wants and has been stringing me along in the process. Edit? Sorry, I should have clarified that the second time she got pregnant, we weren't actively trying because she hadn't said she's ready after the first termination. Now for the top comments. Yeah, definitely not the a-hole. This relationship ain't gonna work out. You both want different things. Just end it and move on and find someone that actually does want what you want. Her not wanting kids is okay, but what's not okay is her stringing you along with non-answers and awful communications just to keep you with her. Exactly. OP didn't force his will on her and didn't judge the choice to terminate the pregnancy. But when she couldn't be clear on a timeline, failed to communicate in addition to having the second termination, OP is right to think their future plans may not be aligned. Reddit has seen plenty of women who have been strung along until it's too late to have babies. Here he is willing to do something about it. She has the right to terminate, he has the right to leave as a result. Not the a-hole. It seems she doesn't want kids but wanted to keep you. No, you're not the a-hole. Wanting kids or not is a fundamental incompatibility. Obviously you aren't compatible. How many terminations do your friends expect you to go through? Are you not allowed to feel betrayed that you entered a marriage assuming you shared common goals only to find out she lied? I question the mindset of a woman who actively tries to get pregnant and then changes her mind twice. I think it's a good thing not to have kids with someone like that. This isn't normal behavior. You're doing the right thing, not the a-hole. A friend of mine from school was adopted as a kid. It turns out his bio father was a successful lawyer/judge in California. His bio mom was a popular artist. They are both still married to each other.
But they had had 3 kids and then decided 4 was too many and gave him up for adoption. Then they had another and decided to keep it. So basically it was just him they didn't want. Initially, this made him feel like crap. But then he met his bio siblings and they were all like, "Thank your lucky stars you got out of this family." It was a crazy circus. No kid wants to be unwanted. It's like you said, anyone with a wife's mindset shouldn't be a parent. Something is off about her. At least she realizes it and didn't parent a kid. Last story. Would I be the a-hole if I broke up with my boyfriend for not proposing? So I, female 27, have been with my boyfriend, male 25, for 3 years next month. He is the best boyfriend I've ever had. And this is the best and healthiest relationship I've ever had with anyone. I haven't had many relationships, but this is by far the best one. There are so many things I love about him, and I know that he loves me just as much if not more. When we first started dating, I told him that I was dating to marry. I know exactly what I want, and I have a timeline for it. I wanted to be married for a little while before I have kids, and I want to have kids no later than 35 years old. I want this for a multitude of reasons, not the least of which is avoiding high-risk pregnancy. I've experienced personal loss, my 4-month-old baby sister due to genetic complications that were likely associated with my mother's geriatric pregnancy. Pregnancies are considered geriatric and higher risk once the woman is 34 or older. We've had many talks about this throughout the years, as this is something that is important to me, and he knows that. All that being said, I am turning 28 this year. He's 26 this month. Time is flying, and I feel like I'll be 30 next week. I really don't want to be his or anyone's girlfriend for more than 4 or 5 years. And as we approach our 3rd year and move towards our 4th year, I would really like to be engaged pretty soon. He said that he wants to marry me, but it's always someday or not anytime soon. When I ask him what he sees for us in the next year or 2, he says that he wants us to be living together, which gives me hope because he knows that I have no interest in living with a significant other unless we are at least engaged. But at the same time, he also wants to move out of his parents' house and live on his own for a while before we actually live together. I totally respect the fact that he may not be at a point in his life where he is ready to take the next step of engagement, and I don't want to push him or give him an ultimatum. However, I do want to do what's best for myself at the end of the day, no matter how much I love him and I love our relationship. I love him, and I know that us breaking up would destroy him, but at the same time, I don't want to put my own life on hold and my health at risk in the future solely to spare his feelings. I'm torn on what to do, and a big part of me feels like I would be a gigantic a-hole for this. And so, I ask for the court of public credit's opinion. Would I be the a-hole for breaking up with him if we're not engaged within the next year? I would be more than happy to get back with him if we did break up and he decided he wanted to get married. I love him and I want to be with him, but I also want to do what is in my own best interest for my future. Edit? Okay, I didn't think this would get so much attention and I haven't even read all the comments, and I just want to clear a few things up. 1. I'm not super rigid in this timeline. I know life happens the way it's gonna happen regardless of what we plan. The only thing I'm the least willing to compromise on is when I have kids. Among the health risks, I also just don't want to be pushing 40 and pushing out a baby for the first time, and I want at least 2 kids. 2. Some of you guys are mean and sad a-holes, but a lot of you have given great advice and mirrored a lot of thoughts I was already having. I think I'm going to wait until our anniversary before I have yet another talk with him about not just what I want, but what he wants and when he wants it. He's not irresponsible at all, but he has the freedom and safety net, his parents, to allow him the freedom to try things and mess up, etc. I do not. He's also not on clock like I am. 3. I'm not pressuring him. I'm not manipulating him. We wouldn't be together if that were the case. He's not stupid and does not want to tolerate that nonsense from anyone including me, and I would never. I have too much love and respect, and frankly, I'm just not a piece of turd. 4. I most certainly have communicated everything in this post to him, clearly and in full. He knows what I want and I have an idea of what he wants. I've always made sure to make all my intentions clear with him, because I do have a tendency to expect people close to me to just know or pick up on hints and things, and I just really didn't want that frustration and confusion in my relationship. You wouldn't be the a-hole for expressing your need for a clear plan in marriage. Open communication is key. If your priorities don't align, it's okay to consider your own well-being. I agree. And also, what's his plan? What is the reasoning for still living at home? Is he working? Saving money toward his future with you? If he contributes to the household monetarily and or chores-wise, that's a good sign that he's acting like an adult. Is he just there for a free ride and spending his money in a way that doesn't build toward his future with you? Like, what's his plan? Because him saying someday, not anytime soon, feels like he doesn't have a plan. maybe doesn't take your timeline seriously, and is ultimately stringing you along for the benefits. If he's staying with his parents but saving a significant amount of money for the future, then I think it is okay. If his income is plain money, that's a really bad sign. Delayed gratification is something to look for in a long-term partner. The same for things like laundry. Is his mom doing all of the laundry or is he doing his own? Does he know how to cook and clean?
Am I the a-hole for refusing to buy my ex's daughter a birthday gift? My ex cheated on me for most of our relationship. I found out during my pregnancy with our daughter, and he had the other girl pregnant too. My daughter was a June baby and theirs was an October baby. They also got married that following February. To say things between us have been tense is an understatement. Ex's wife didn't know immediately that he was with me or that we had been together since we were 15. She hated me for overshadowing her own pregnancy with mine. She hated me even worse when she needed an emergency C-section and had so many complications that a hysterectomy had to be carried out. The tension between us all then was at its worst. Ex's wife wanted me to give up my daughter for them to raise both girls together as real sisters. And when I refused, we had all the drama. I don't even think she would have been able to love my daughter had I done that. But I think she wanted more than one badly enough that she thought my daughter would do since she was already born. Ex and I now communicate through an app mostly. We share custody for our daughter, 14, and exchanges happen at school pickup time to minimize the contact between us. This has worked for many years, though I know not ideal for my daughter overall. My daughter and her half-sister have a very high conflict relationship. It's over me and Ex's wife. Ex's daughter had picked up her mom's attitude toward me and dislikes me and believes I keep her sister from her real family. My daughter doesn't like Ex's wife either, which annoys her half-sister. This has been communicated to me a number of times by my daughter and also by my ex, who will send random texts about it. I never respond because our mandated communication is done through the app. Now, Ex and his wife had some financial problems over the last 6 months. For my daughter's birthday, she got a card and a gift card, and my ex told her in advance he wouldn't be able to get her much. I was able to get her a present as normal though. I splurged a little this year and got my daughter a gaming laptop. She was so happy. Ex became aware of this when my daughter spent a bit of time with her grandparents and asked them if she could bring the laptop to their house. Ex told her about it and she told him I bought it as her birthday gift. Now, Ex's daughter's birthday is a couple of weeks away and he wants me to buy her a gift, something I have never done before. He said the money situation is still tight and he doesn't want her to get nothing. I told him I would not be buying her a gift, and he blew up the app in my phone, saying I should be doing this, so his daughter isn't left with a lackluster birthday. Ex said I had never done anything to help the dynamic with the girls. I'd never cared about the pain he and his wife were in, and this was one thing I could do. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your ex is delusional if he thinks seriously that his daughter is somehow your responsibility. I will advise your daughter to keep her gaming laptop at your home, because I can already see the drama coming, when her father will force her to keep it at their place so his daughter can play with it whenever she wants, or worse, try to gift it to his daughter. She does keep it at our home. Her grandparents' house was the only place it went otherwise, but it was just them and her, so no concerns about it being taken and given to her half-sister. She was already concerned her dad might make her share it, which is why she never tried to bring it to her dad's house. You are only responsible for your daughter, and always keep records of things. Better safe than sorry. Your ex is simultaneously stunningly entitled and delusional. Please ignore him. That is the easiest NTA ever. Ex's wife wanted me to give up my daughter for them to raise both girls together as real sisters. Even by AITA standards, this is outrageous. That's how I felt when she said this to me. I never even gave it a second of consideration, but if I had, it would have set my daughter up for a terrible childhood. She looks just like me, and I know that would have impacted how she was treated. As it was, Ex's wife resented her as well as me. So the fact she demanded that was even more outrageous. You're a kinder person than I am. I'd have told her to go bother one of the other women her husband is cheating on her with if she wants another kid to raise. Next story. Would I be the a-hole if I told my husband I didn't want kids because of him?
I want to start off by saying I love my 28 female husband, 33 male, and he's a great man and amazing to me, and everyone he loves. Yes, we've had issues, but we're very big into communicating them and can come to a solution quite quickly. However, my husband and I are both diagnosed OCD. His is germs and filth, while mine is more everything has a place, organization, and perfection basically. With that said, we disagree in many things since I don't care about pet hair, crumbs on a counter, etc. And he doesn't care if his stuff is everywhere, as long as it's clean stuff. Backstory. Before we moved in together, my animals always slept with me, were allowed on the furniture, etc. And once we moved in together, that stopped. So, it talks about our future kids, what extracurricular we might want them to try, and so forth. I used to want kids, but now I'm very much leaning towards not. If it happens, I'll be delighted and love them unconditionally, but I think I would prefer not having them. So on to the part where I could be the a-hole. He's made comments about how he doesn't think he could change diapers or deal with a spit up, so I'll have to do it. I don't agree with that at all, because I think parenthood should be all hands on deck from conception on. I worry about wanting to go somewhere by myself or with friends, and him not wanting to feed or change the baby while I'm gone, or having to get up every night, throughout the night, to do this. I don't blame him for not wanting to because of his OCD, but I'm scared. And what happens if the baby has a blowout or spit up on the couch or on the bed? He already doesn't let our animals on them. I don't want to be the 100% cleaning up after them, or changing them or feed them. I also want to point out that I'm a big napper and sleeper. I take 1 to 2 hour naps at least 3 times a week and need at least 9 hours of sleep a night. He can only sleep for 4 to 5 hours a day, so he usually goes to bed at 3 to 4 a.m. and is up by 8. I know that will change if we have kids, but to lose that much sleep to do everything while he can't because of the OCD is giving me major anxiety. We both love each other very much, but I feel like I'd basically be a single parent doing everything for the first few years, if not more, if we have kids. Edit, thank you for the suggestions and comments, but I wanted to clarify some things. 1. He isn't making any excuses. He has voiced his concerns and I have voiced mine. He has never once said, I will not do this. So for those saying he's the a-hole for that is wrong. I'm just thinking logically. 2. I put the sleep part in there because I wanted to preface my way of living. I know I would lose a great deal of that sleep if we have kids. I was using that to use as an example of what if I wanted to take a nap and the baby needed a diaper change. 3. For those saying I should try being around kids to see how I can handle it with my OCD. I have. I'm an aunt to 15 nieces and nephews under 10. Was a nanny and a daycare teacher for 1.5 to 2-year-olds. And I've been to therapy for my OCD. And yes, they are messy. Lol. It does give my anxiety to see the mess, but I have no issue going behind and tidying up after them. And when I was a teacher, I always taught to clean up after themselves, so it wasn't too bad. He has 2 toddler nieces and nephews and is great, but has never been around them when sick. Always gives them to his sister when they need a diaper change. So that would be a good starting point. Thanks. 4. For those saying he is the a-hole because I would be alone when I was sick, he wouldn't take care of me, etc., also wrong. I just had food poisoning the worst way a few days ago and he was amazing. He got me what I needed. Comforted me, got me medicine, and constantly checked on me. But just stayed out of the bathroom when I was in there and only kissed me on top of my head. Congrats! You're among the few people that can look at their life and medical conditions and think real hard on if you're actually prepared to have kids or not. Stand firm. Kids are not a trial run. Once you let that genie out, you're stuck. Yes, no one gets to nope out of the gritty bits of parenting. If he is already saying he won't do any of the hard work, then it is 100% the right call to say that he refused to sign up to be the only on-call parent. And those greedy bits may be 90% of the time for the first year or so. My youngest was naughty/sick/poop exploding near enough every day for the first 10 months of life, when my eldest brought back every bug going from preschool. They both overlapped chicken pox and then hand, foot, and mouth, so that was a full 2 months either side of summer when we couldn't take them anywhere. If he has OCD over germs, he'll never see kids. I'll say one thing, don't have kids if you can't handle poop and body fluids. My daughter was 6 months old, not feeling good at all, had a small fever. Wasn't too worried and tied it down to teething. I was holding her, trying to console her and sing to her. She projectile vomited in my face, and then continued to leave a trail and a decent amount in the tub, which was 3 rooms and a hallway away from where we were. Stomach flu with a baby's no joke. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife I don't want kids with her because she threatens divorce nearly every time we fight? My wife, 34 female, and I, 36 male, have been married for a little over 5 years. Shortly after we got married, we agreed to try to have a kid after 5 years or so. We wanted to travel together during that time. We traveled a lot and got to have some amazing experiences together. Now I'm very hesitant because nearly every time we get into a fight, she threatens divorce. Nothing egregious has happened within our relationship. There's been no infidelity, no wondering who the other has been out with, etc. But she comes from a long line of divorced family members. She jokes about our marriage being her trial marriage. I come from a family who believes in staying married and working through issues, unless someone royally messes up. I don't take these threats lightly and have been hesitant to have a child with her after continual threats of divorce. During our current ongoing fight, she has in fact contacted a divorce lawyer after she said she was going to and I told her to go ahead, though has not followed through. What are y'all thoughts? Am I the a-hole for not wanting to have a child with my wife at this point? Now for the top comments. My ex-husband did this continually as well, until the day I agreed and filed for divorce while he desperately tried to backpedal. Oh well, too late. This is exactly what's going to happen, and OP don't fall for the backpedaling, because they will never change. Same with my ex-wife. Every stupid argument was instantly turned into an "I'll divorce you" power play. She even told her best friend that since she's been married once already, it's all the same if she divorces. Go figure. She pretended to be devastated and blindsided when I put the signed divorce papers on the table. Divorce, and even the word being tossed around. It's like the solution now to everything, like people being so happy. I believe there are many couples getting divorced as they see other relatives or friends get divorced, and the stigma is long gone. It's similar to when family members and friends first start getting married. As OP even mentioned, divorce is very common in her family. Expecting that to be totally different for her is being a little naive. That would make me sick if both my spouse and myself just tossed that word around so lightly. It's not only totally disrespectful, but obnoxious as well. It would sound like a hopeless mantra, and like the future just looks dark. If I overheard her speaking like that in public, I'd be tempted to tell the big mouth to quiet down. You would be insane to have a child with her. She is not invested in this. Either she needs to have a serious wake-up call, or this needs to end. She treats your marriage and relationship as disposable. Eventually, she's going to go through with it. Not the a-hole. No, she's using these threats as a form of emotional abuse, and she will have a surprised Pikachu face when it takes her up on her words. During fight, we should get divorced. You know what? Fine, here are the papers. I had them ready. You just need to sign them. Shocked Pikachu face. This is what I did. She was abusive and had herself deluded that she had control over me. She did to an extent, of course. I loved her and tried very hard to give her time to learn to do better. She just got worse, kept threatening to get divorced. So I had her parents take her to their house, did the paperwork myself, and got it done as fast as possible. A good man shouldn't waste his time on an abusive woman. There's plenty better out there. Last story. Am I the a-hole because I don't want to spoil my stepkids? I have a 14-year-old daughter from a previous relationship, and my wife has 2 sons, 16 and 13. I had a vasectomy after my daughter to make sure I won't have other kids. I spoil my daughter however I can. This includes brand clothes, expensive schools, and best electronics. And before anyone decides that my daughter is a brat, I should say that she's an extremely well-behaved kid. The problem is, my wife and her ex can't afford the same for their sons. And they are angry that our kids have completely different living situations while living at the same house. My wife thinks I should be spoiling her sons too, but I can't afford it. So I told her that's not my problem, and they have 2 parents who should be spoiling them. You're the a-hole for marrying someone with a child when you had zero intention of treating them as a full member of your family. It's fine to not want to be a step-parent, but then you shouldn't assume that role in the first place. My thoughts exactly. Why do people do this? Why? Why? Go get child-free women for God's sake. You're the a-hole. Look, if this is how you want to behave, that's your prerogative. But you have absolutely no business blending families with this attitude. You're setting the kids up to feel jealousy and resentment, and this isn't going to help the kids adjust to being in each other's lives. I kind of feel like the mother is also an a-hole in this scenario. How could you marry someone who'd treat her kids this way? Moreover, how could she marry someone and move in with them without discussing her financial needs and expectations? I think everyone sucks here, because if she just expected this guy to spoil her kids rotten without communicating that before they got married and move in, well, that's on her for not communicating. You're the a-hole. Some stepdad you are. I'm grateful my stepdad wasn't like this. He spoiled the heck out of me, along with his 2 other kids. It's not that hard to treat your stepkids the same. I can't imagine how her sons feel. Stop spending so much on your daughter if it's causing you to not be able to spoil the other kids too. That's so unfair. Step up and be a better stepdad. You're the a-hole 100% OP. You're the wicked stepdad. Why did you choose to become a stepdad? Your behavior is so gross. I could never be attracted to you as the mother of these 2 boys, just seeing how you treat them. Edit. I've been thinking about your comments, and I think you are right. I can't treat kids that live under the same roof differently, so I asked my wife to move out of my home for now. We will try counseling and we will see how that goes. But if I have to choose between her and my daughter, it's always going to be my daughter. She's not happy as she has a low-paying job, and moving out means downgrading their lives.